Okay, we are just I don't know, a minute or two early, but those people that come in after can just kind of catch up. I'll get started here with a devotion, and after I read it, or while I'm reading it, you guys are going to think I copied off of his sermon notes. Promise I did not. This was not pre-planned by any means. But last Sunday I had a conversation with my two girls on the way home from a volleyball practice, and one of them was complaining about being put with a partner that was no good at whatever they were practicing. And I said to the girls, I said, you guys got to remember that maybe she's good at something else. So what if volleyball's not her thing? Good for her for going out. But you know what? Maybe she's better at math than you, or maybe she's a better artist, or things like that. So it's kind of funny that that the sermon and today's lesson all kind of talked about that, because it all kind of brought it home. And then when I was thinking about what devotion I wanted to do today, I think it's important that we all give back to the church in some way, whether it's, you're good at cooking or cleaning or reading or whatever it is. And so that's kind of why I chose the devotion I did, but it's just kind of cool that it all tied in. Each of us should use whatever gift we have received to serve others as faithful stewards in God's grace in its various forms. And that's from 1 Peter. God gives us all unique talents, and these talents shape us. It's our spiritual gifts, our heart, our abilities, our personality, and our experiences. These are the things that God gives us that makes us who we are and sets us apart from other people. Imagine a world where we're all good at the same thing. It'd be a real lonely and boring place to be. If you think about your talents, are they simply to make a lot of money, retire, and die? If they are, you've seriously missed the point of your life. God gives you talents to benefit others and not yourself. God gave other people talents that benefit you. We're all part of the body of Christ, and each part matters. There is no insignificant people in the family of God. You are shaped to serve God, and He's testing you. He's testing you to see how you are going to use the talents He gave you. Whether you're a musician or accountant, a teacher or a cook, God gave you those abilities to serve others. You are the manager of the gifts that God has given to you, whether they be great or small in your eyes, but they matter to God. Are you using what He's given you for the benefit of others to make the world a better place, or are you just using those talents to benefit yourself? When God gives you a talent, He expects you to use it. It's like a muscle. If you use it, it will grow. If you don't use it, you will lose it. If you have a talent but you're afraid to use it, or if you just get lazy and you don't use it to benefit others, you're going to lose it. But if you use your talents wisely, God will give you more. If you use your time wisely, God will give you more. If you use your energy wisely, God will give you more energy. If you use your influence wisely, God will increase your influence. God will bless your level of faithfulness. All right, so we can get our meeting started now. Just due to the current COVID guidelines and pandemics and stuff, we have a low number of members here today, so I would ask that we have a motion to suspend the requirement for the 50-member quarantine for today, so that we can go ahead and proceed with the meeting without the required 50 members present. We have a first motion here and a second by Mike. Perfect. In your packets, there's all the reports are listed, so we can begin kind of going through those. And if I'll start with mine. I don't have anything to add to it. Pretty straightforward. And that starts on page 4. The Vice President report by Lene follows mine there on page 4. And now if we could all pay your attention to page 5, there is the approval of the 2019 annual meeting minutes. So if you could read through those, and then we will need to approve those. So I'll need a first and a second on last year's meeting minutes as soon as you get to that point. you have a motion? Yep. Okay. And do we have a second to approve the minutes? There we go. Thank. Yep. Oh, sorry, Nancy firsted. Yes, excuse me, Nancy firsted to approve last year's meeting minutes. Do we have a second? There we go. Oh, sorry, Lena Height seconded. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay. The next thing on the list here is the executive committee meeting minutes, and those are on page 8.
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, and we actually don't need to approve those. They were approved at council. Next up is the financial secretary report by Mike. And his can be found towards the back, pages 26 through 27. Is there any questions about Mike's report or anything? Or anything to add, Mike? I guess I should ask that as well. Great, thank you, Mike. Yep. So if you didn't catch that, he just to recap, $30,000 of the general fund right now, 22,000 of it was that PPE plan, and hopefully will be forgiven. And he just appreciates everybody giving during these times, that's for sure. So we do need to approve these this report. So if anyone would like to first it. Yep, go ahead. First, sorry. Okay, and a second? All right, Linda Sugaress seconded. Oh, and Kathy. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Wonderful. Okay, treasurer's report's done by Ellen, and that's on page 9, so kind of towards the front again. With the, I guess, also in the back as well, if you want to look at it more closely. Mick, in a second? Perfect. All in favor of approving the treasurer's minute, or report, excuse me, say aye. Any opposed? All right. Next on your list is, on page 10 is Pastor Kevin Fry's report. If there's anything to add, Pastor Kevin?
Thank you to the congregation. I got a microphone. Thank you to the congregation for all of your hard work, especially during this pandemic time, and I especially want to thank Pastor Dan and Sue for the help that they've given, and you folks have certainly been a great addition to our congregation and to the ministry here, so thanks so much.
All right, and then we'll go, next up is Pastor Dan's report on page 11. And anything you'd like to add to that, Pastor Dan?
Thank you for the graciousness of this congregation.
Absolutely. Wonderful. All right, and then, let's see, on 12 and 13, you'll find the record of events portion from the pastors to kind of look over. Next up, we have our standing committee reports. We'll start with buildings and grounds, which is from Mick Gage, and that starts on page 14. And Mick, if you have anything to add? No? Okay, wonderful. There's definitely been lots of wonderful additions to the church here lately with buildings and grounds, so it's been nice to see. Sarah Thronson is our Christian education, and she's not here today, but her report's there for you on page 14. They've certainly had their hands full with COVID guidelines and keeping kids involved, and I think they've done a wonderful job, that's for sure. Lena's report is there on page 15. Lena's here. I don't know, Lena, if you have anything to add today. Great.
I just wanted to add also to my report and thank my committee members, Kathy Stokel, Carol Hauser, and Lori Nasbish for all of their help.
All right, don't go too far, Kevin. Kendra's next with long-range planning, and her report's there. Looks like 15 and carries over to 16 if Kendra has anything to add.
Can you hear me, or I can talk in the microphone? Don't want to blow you away. I have to shorten my voice now. Yeah, it has been a kind of it seems a slow year for us on long term. It was a long delay of once we got past March. We were in March. We were able to do our cookies for the heart following the winter delay in February because of the weather, and then I say we've been slow ever since. So reports in there, no changes. Welcome any new members of the committee this next year if anyone wants to join. And any ideas also for long term, just kind of thinking things here through the COVID, how is that going to impact our long term? We know the church is going to be here, but are there technology changes, methods, patterns, things like that we need to continue to look at? Let me know, and I will pass it on.
Great, thank you. For social ministry, Michelle Good is the chair of that committee. I don't see her here, but if anybody else from that committee has anything they'd like to add, that report starts on page 16 and rolls over to 17. Okay, and then we've got stewardship committee. Melissa is the chair of that, and that is, let's see, she's on page 17 as well. If there's anything to add to the stewardship committee, anybody? Okay. All right, and then we've got on page 18, the TWALCA report as well as the treasurer's report there for that group. I know a lot of their things were put on hold due to COVID, but it's nice that they're getting kind of back into the swing of things with their quilting and different things. It's nice to see. Linda is a chair of the Worship and Music Committee, and her report is there on page 19. If Linda has anything to add.
I want to thank everyone for being patient through this time, and we struggled whether we should sing or not. And after we made the decision at council one night, after we made the decision at council to again sing, we've limited the verses. I was still struggling with that a little bit, whether we made the right decision. So I decided to do a Bible flop. And my Bible opened to the Psalms, and the first thing was, "Oh, sing to the Lord." So I think we're all right.
Boy, if that doesn't just hit you right in the face, I don't know what does. All right. Thank you, Linda. For youth ministry, Caitlin is the chair, and her report starts on 19, just there at the bottom, and rolls over to page 20. I don't know of any additions unless anybody else does for her report. Okay, and then we've got our other reports section, starting on page 20 with Paul for cemetery. Taking care of those. If you have anything to add, Paul. Great. All right, and then we've got the endowment ministry for with the other Paul. Anything to add there? And that's on page 20 to 22 in your packet. And then the final report here is the audit committee report. One thing we did get accomplished this year is we kind of fixed up the audit committee a little bit. In the past, it was, it kind of went back and forth. But last year, the audit committee was just kind of a hurry up and get 3 people to do it. And then it was suggested that we make the audit committee back on a rotation so that there's people on the committee that understand what needs to be done and kind of what happened the year before. So a special thanks to Hannah, Emily, and Linda for all either volunteering or agreeing to do that, but they're all gonna take a 1, 2, and 3 year term on the audit committee. So we'll have some consistency for next year, which will be nice. Okay. Next up, we can go with our new business. Kind of the meat and potatoes of the meeting, I think. And that's planning ahead for next year. So that starts kind of on page, looks like 39 and 40. This is for the officers' ballot and nomination that the nomination committee put together for us. And Ellen, maybe you can correct me, for nominating committee, they're all going to return for 2021, right? Perfect, okay. That is Lacey McGrath, Lindsay Knoll, and Donna Gable. Are also invited to join the nominating committee. You are correct. Yes. Yes, that is in there. Yeah, I believe there was a little bit of confusion with that when they got together, but they do realize that. They have seen the bylaws, so hopefully that got ironed out for them. What's that, Mike? I'm sorry. I don't have any additions. Okay, that was for Building and Grounds, Andy Babcock. Okay. Any other additions or anything else for the ballot here? Okay, for Synod, on page 40, Kathy is joining Mike for that. Thank you, Kathy and Mike, and anybody else that's on this ballot. And is it Decorah this year? Is that what we talked about? The Synod, okay. Wow. Very neat. Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe since we don't have really anything to vote on, it looks like everybody that's nominated here, there's not really a choice to vote. Can we just have a motion to approve the ballot and go forward with the ballot? Orla, motions, and Dean seconds, that we go ahead and just approve the ballot without needing to count votes. There's not votes to count. We're not Pennsylvania, right? Okay, all in favor that we just go ahead and approve what's here with the corrections that we've already stated with Kathy and Andy both being on there as well? All in favor say aye. And any opposed? Very good. And then the last thing that we need to approve here for today will be the 2021 budget. And that very last page. So for this, you will just go ahead and mark and vote. Yes, yeah. Is there any discussion about the 2021 budget? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a couple comments. First of all, we all look at the numbers, and that's probably the first thing we look at is the money that's coming in and what we have to spend. And I do think those things are important. But if you look on page 12 and 13, some other numbers before we approve this budget that we should look at too. 15 baptisms for the year. Do you know how many churches would love to have that many people baptized? 18 confirmants. Ask your friends how many confirmants their churches have. 8 marriages. We even have a pastor that joins in just to help the situation. I mean, you can't give much more than that. We have to remember that it is a business, and even though we look at the numbers, it's really a people business, and we need to keep working to grow that part of it. And every one of us, as Pastor was talking about and Kim talked about, our talents are important in this whole thing. How much we help other people, encourage other people. We've got Pastor Kevin, Pastor Dan, Sue, now Marion, Ellen, Dennis, everyone that's on. It just amazes me, all the people that are involved with all these committees and all the people that are involved with, hopefully we get back to having at some point in time Sunday school or Wednesday school. There's a lot of good things that we're doing here, and the money sometimes becomes the important thing, but I think all of these other things, the job that Mick does, pushing us, we got to keep the water from coming in. Those are positive things that we have to keep going and doing, and we have a lot of positive things going on here, folks, in this church. The money is important, but don't forget to give your other talents too. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, the one thing that, not working or not? Anyway, when I looked through this, one thing that stood out to me was the health insurance. Has anybody looked into health insurance for pastors over the years, or do they just keep approving the same program with the same policy, which is getting up there quite expensive? I thought that was a little bit high for what we need.
We looked into the health insurance, and health insurance is supposed to be bought according to evidently the bylaws of the church, that we have to pay more because we can afford it here, more so than that church that's just starting or something like that. And so our rates are higher than you can buy maybe on the street up here, but they won't let you do it.
Part of the thing too was that we had a Marion, I'm sorry, yeah, I should speak into the microphone, right? No, not on Val. Val was getting through school in Denver, but we were getting us, part of it kicked, yep, part of that, yep, out of our own pocket. Oh yeah, we had that year off from last year, last 2 years after she died, yep. And then next year, Emma goes off my insurance, so it's back to the two of us again. So that's the difference, that there was the big difference this year.
I just want to say it is high, but everybody's is high. I looked at it. Well, Kathy and I are buying our insurance, and it's less than what we could have got.
I remember the Senate telling us that that's why ours is higher.
Okay.
Because that we can afford it. We can't really afford it, but that's the way they do it. It goes by the same. Yep.
The other thing on the insurance is Ellen is now going to be insured. She had requested it halfway through the tax year, or the year, to get insurance, and we held it off, or she held it off until the first of the year. So she didn't have to have a salary increase, but she did get, we're paying half of her insurance.
Yeah, we're a little bit between a rock and a hard
It's the church
place.
plan, it's the ELCA plan.
Yeah, and I think Dean makes a very valid point, but just knowing that, yeah, it is what it is right now, and one nice thing is that when Emma goes off, it should lessen some when she gets to that age that she can't be on it anymore. Is there any other questions or comments about anything that you guys have seen in the packet? Yeah.
My teacher voice isn't enough. My friend is a business manager at St. John's Lutheran in Charles City. They looked at insurance. Again, they're bound by Senate. There are plans like silver and gold. We have gold. The silver is only $5 less a month. So they have decided it's not worth it because the package is substantially lower. So I think all of our workers deserve the gold.
Thank you. Anything else anybody would like to add, especially about the budget or anything in the packet today? All right, so we can go ahead and collect these, I suppose, or pass them maybe, whatever's easiest. Yep. Thank you for collecting those. While they finish up collecting those, any other business or anything else that we can address today? Speak now, or I guess hold it in. Yep, go ahead.
Thank Kim for carrying us through the year, her and the other leadership in the church. The council has been great about being flexible with the pandemic and everything, and I want to give special thanks to Kim and to the other people who are going off the council. So,
Yeah.
especially since she brought her son with her and lowered the average age of the people here today.
Yeah, thanks, yeah. Thank you. It's been fun. I've learned a lot, that's for sure, so. All right, so we can go ahead and, I suppose, announce those elected, count them. Yep, we do officially. Why they count those, I will share with you guys. I was in another meeting last week with a committee or whatever that I'm on here in town, and somebody said, and I don't think she knew that I went to Trinity, and she goes, does anybody know what they're doing over at Trinity to get all them kids excited about church? And I just sat there. I thought, I'm just going to wait and see what people say. And everyone's like, no, we don't know. And so I have to say, other churches are talking about what we're doing here, especially with our youth. So I was so proud to say, I know what they're doing. It's pretty neat. And not that I shared any secrets, but it is neat to see a different congregation trying to be like us. So it's something to definitely be proud of. And I know that if you're not directly involved in the Wednesday night things, if you don't have little ones, it's something that's pretty special and very neat. And I know when my kids thought there wasn't going to be light this year, I had 3 and 4 very disappointed kids, but thankfully we are back at it at 50% capacity and doing everything we're supposed to, and the kids are sure happy to be here. So we have a lot to be proud of here at Trinity, that's for sure. Wonderful. Okay, so we'll just need to, all in favor of the unanimous vote, I suppose, say aye. Any opposed? Okay. We have approved the budget then. Great. We just need a motion now to go ahead and adjourn the meeting, and we can close with the Lord's Prayer. Dean motion, and Mick. All right, I think we should end with the Lord's Prayer. Ready? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sin, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Great. Have a wonderful day, everybody. 33 minutes. That's like a council meeting. Good job.